Hello and welcome to another video, and I'm excited and ecstatic to come today already and talk to you about my early impressions of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've been anticipating this game for a while, ever since they kind of lifted the veil and showed us what the game's going to be and everything about it, because there was a lot of uncertainty after the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, what direction are they taking this? Is this going to be different than we remember? You know, is this going to be the same? We weren't sure. Like, that was kind of the overall, consensus was, is it going to be faithful still, or are they going to do their own thing? And no, it's still pretty fucking faithful. So, man, I've been waiting for this. I've pretty much, I saw the trailer that came out where they showed all that footage of the open world and everything. And then I kind of went on media blackout, as I like to do with games that I'm excited about, because you've already sold me. I don't need to see any more on the game. As far as my playtime right now, I've put in about 12 hours so far over the weekend. That was the time that I had to spend with it, which honestly, I had more time this weekend than most weekends to dive into it, which was nice. But I'm coming out on the other end just so overjoyed with how great this game is already. I'm a massive Final Fantasy VII fan in particular. I've always said that's my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. That's never going to change. So I, like most people, were really, really excited when back in 2015 it was announced at E3 that yes, we are remaking Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, we know that after that happened, some stuff changed. This went from being a one game remake to a 3-part, which now that we have the second part of it, I think we kind of know what the direction is, how it's going. There will be some minor spoilers in this video, but nothing major. Like I said, I'm only 12 hours into the game. I've only scratched the surface of what promises to be about an 80 to 90 hour RPG. When everything's all said and done. First thing I want to point out is the world detail. The level of detail in this game is spectacular. The game opens up with the flashbacks to everything that happened in I forget the name of the town, but it starts with an N, but everything with Sephiroth and all that stuff that happens there, which is kind of in the middle of Final Fantasy VII, because again, this is the middle part of the game. You get that flashback, which is done to perfection. You get kind of Cloud telling the story like he did very much in the original game, but here obviously with voice acting, it kind of really adds a level to it that maybe we didn't have, being the original game was a text-based game. Again, voice work continues to be phenomenal. I have to say, every single actor that has been picked for this game, voice-wise, is so perfect to who that character is. I always like to shout out Red 13, because that is the voice that I envisioned as a kid. And the fact that they were able to nail that for me personally is fantastic. But there's no one that doesn't sound great voice actor in this game. They all sound tremendous and do a tremendous job. I love being in the area. You start in the town of Calm, and then you kind of get out to the grasslands. That's the first major open area you get to explore. I will say enemies, the way they deal with the enemy battles, you're not overwhelmed. It's obviously not like the original game where you run around and it's random battles. You see the enemies on the screen, kind of like later Final Fantasies. The combat is just like Remake, but I'd say more improved. There's a lot more you can do. There's a lot of synergy moves between different characters, something that was kind of introduced in Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, or what is it? Intermission, sorry, with the Yuffie DLC. So that's pretty cool, but I've found the combat to be particularly great in this. The music is another big part of it. Just hearing those familiar songs from Final Fantasy VII, but redone with the most top level production that you can imagine. They threw a shit ton of money at this game, and it really fucking shows that they threw a shit ton of money at this game. And again, they're gonna make bank on this, much like the first part of the remake. When the numbers come out, like, this is gonna do phenomenal sales wise. So I'm enjoying every aspect of it. There's little things too that I think is really awesome in the game. One thing I want to point out in this game is when you start the game, you know, your party consists of Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Red 13, and Barrett. Okay, they're all kind of there. You can only have 3 people in your party because that's what Final Fantasy VII was. But the 2 people that are not are in the background, still kind of fighting with you. Like, for example, if you have Barrett on the sidelines, he's still shooting his handgun into the enemies. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he's still contributing. And I think that's a really cool thing that they added here. Another thing that I think is just downright funny and goofy is the fact that they took the time to animate Red 13 riding a chocobo and also climbing walls and ladders, which is ridiculous when you think about it, and just seeing the actual act in the game is even more ridiculous. So, but I love, again, much like Remake, how everything is kind of fleshed out. There's a ton of side activities in this. They created a new card game for this game that you can play. That's fantastic as well. There's so much to do. It's overwhelming, man. Like, it's really overwhelming how much content and stuff they put into this. And it was the kind of thing where I was like, well, you know, I could take a little bit more time to put out an early impressions video, or I could just do an early impressions video now and really hunker down and play the game, because I will actually do a review of this game. This is a big enough game that I'm having enough fun with that I feel like I will have a lot to say when it's all said and done. Man, it's great. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. Like, if you're a fan of the original Final Fantasy VII specifically, and you were maybe hesitant on Remake because you heard some stuff about, well, you know, maybe they're changing the story a little bit, or the fact that it's not a complete game, dive in now, man, because I will tell you, when you get to Rebirth, it is so fucking incredible. And overwhelming. The game looks visually amazing too, I'll say that. Like, I've seen some videos out there and stuff of people kind of bashing the graphical fidelity when you're on performance mode. I haven't really noticed that big of a deal, and I mean, I'm playing on a 55-inch OLED, so it looks amazing. Like, there's never been one part where I'm like, oh, that doesn't look very good. Like, it all looks amazing. So yeah, I cannot recommend it enough at this point. And I'm just having such a great time with it that I wanted to get a video out there quick to just let you guys know, like, how much fun I'm having with it. And, you know, at this point, I highly recommend it. I'd love to know in the comments below what you think about Rebirth so far. Are you enjoying it? And everything else. And again, Final Fantasy VII is not only my favorite Final Fantasy, but probably one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game that I've played over and over and over again every generation. I mean, until we put out a relatively easy way to play it on all the modern systems. I mean, you can play it on, you know, PS4, PS5, whatever Xbox you have, Nintendo Switch. You know, this was a game I used to pull out a PS2 and hook up every couple of years and play my PS1 copy of it. So I love this game to death. I still think it's a testament to how incredibly well written those characters were back then when you know, I was growing up. I mean, at the time that 7 came out, it's one of the first PlayStation games that I played outside of Metal Gear Solid, and one of the first RPGs I really dove into. I had dabbled with Final Fantasy. You know, I had played Mystic Quest, which I've said before, that was my first Final Fantasy, which a lot of people like to snicker at, but I don't think Mystic Quest is a bad game. And, you know, I dabbled, obviously Super Mario RPG was another one, but my real, like, first true experience with a JRPG was Final Fantasy VII, and that's a lot of probably what has to do with why I regard it so highly, but it's an incredible fucking game, and it's truly stood the test of time, I think, over pretty much all the other Final Fantasies for just how incredibly well written those characters are. I mean, each character has an incredible backstory, and just, you know, everything about each character is great. It's a very prolific game, and they're doing this remake treatment justice. So again, I'd like to know in the comments below, what do you think about it? Are you enjoying it? Remember, as always, to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time.